What if the person you trusted the most was the one betraying you all along? Imagine building a life, a home, a family, only to realize it was all a carefully crafted illusion. I had everything: success, wealth, a son who looked up to me, and a wife who was hiding a devastating secret. But she underestimated me. She thought she could deceive me forever. She was wrong. Because the moment I uncovered the truth, I didn't just plan to expose her. I planned to destroy her world, piece by piece. And once I was done, she would regret ever thinking she could outplay me. The expansive floor-to-ceiling windows of my sustainable estate framed the twilight sky, streaked with deep amber and crimson hues. Beyond the horizon, the distant hills stretch endlessly, a breathtaking contrast to the turmoil festering inside me. I am Soren Vale, a name that resonates with innovation in renewable energy. At 40, I have built an empire rooted in progress, yet none of that matters tonight. My mind is consumed not with advancements in technology, but with something far more personal, far more shattering. My gaze shifts to the glass, my reflection staring back, a man who, by all appearances, has it all. Success. Influence. A family. But reflections lie. Beneath this carefully sculpted exterior, a truth gnaws at me, one I can no longer ignore. Footsteps echo through the open space behind me, light and quick. I turn just as Cashin, my 12-year-old son, steps into the room. His face carries the sharp intelligence I once recognized in myself at his age. He grins, his youthful energy cutting through the weight pressing down on me. "Dad, can we go hiking this weekend?" His enthusiasm is palpable, a bright spot in the encroaching darkness. I force a smile, suppressing the storm inside. "Of course. Let's plan for Saturday." His excitement is immediate. Without hesitation, he dashes off to prepare, the joy in his voice echoing down the hall. The moment he disappears, my smile vanishes, replaced by a cold determination. I would do anything for him, absolutely anything. And that thought only leads me back to the betrayal unraveling the very foundation of our lives. Elara believes herself discreet. She thinks her carefully concealed affair is imperceptible, seamlessly woven into the fabric of our daily existence. But she underestimates me. She always has. The realization came not in a moment of clarity, but in a slow, creeping pattern of inconsistencies. It began with a single charge on our shared account, a reservation at an exclusive boutique hotel. One neither of us had visited together. At first, I dismissed it, rationalizing it away, but something unsettled me. That unease grew, its tendrils wrapping tightly around every interaction, every whispered call, every unexplained absence. The picture it formed was undeniable. A car pulls into the driveway below. Moments later, the front door swings open, and Elara's voice carries through the space. "I'm home." I steady myself, masking my thoughts beneath a well-rehearsed facade. I have spent months perfecting this act, playing the role of the devoted husband with precision. When she steps into the room, she is every bit the polished professional, her tailored attire exuding confidence. Her career as a brand strategist has flourished, feeding the illusion of a woman in control. She presses a brief kiss against my lips, and I force myself not to recoil. "How was your day?" she asks, her expression open, unassuming. "Productive," I reply evenly. "We're finalizing a new solar panel prototype. It could increase efficiency by nearly 30%. Her eyes brighten with genuine interest. "That's incredible, Soren. Your work is going to change everything." Her admiration should mean something. Once it did. Now, it only fuels the quiet rage I keep buried beneath layers of restraint. "And you?" I ask, maintaining the charade. "Any exciting developments in brand strategy?" She launches into a summary of her day, detailing client meetings and market trends. I nod where appropriate, my expression composed. But beneath my practiced demeanor, I am elsewhere, cataloging the evidence I've gathered, the encrypted messages, the unexplained transactions, the damning proof stored securely in a place she will never suspect. Does she feel even a flicker of remorse? Or has deception become so second nature that she believes herself untouchable? As she speaks, I study her movements, the subtle shifts in her posture, the fleeting hesitations in her speech. I once knew every unspoken nuance of her body language. Now, every gesture feels rehearsed, like a carefully directed performance. Later that night, as she steps into the shower, I move with silent precision. Her phone, carelessly abandoned on the nightstand, is a vulnerability she has not accounted for. I input the passcode, one I have memorized from years of familiarity, and the screen unlocks without resistance. Scrolling through her messages, my pulse remains steady. I am past the point of shock. I have already accepted what I will find. And then, buried beneath a web of digital secrecy, I uncover it, a hidden folder. Hesitation is momentary. I open it, and the weight of its contents settles over me like a crushing tide. Images. Videos. Explicit, undeniable proof of her infidelity. Dorian Mercer. I recognize him immediately. A venture capitalist known for his charisma and calculated ambition. And here, in these unguarded, intimate moments, I see a version of my wife that has long since disappeared from my life. I exhale slowly, letting the magnitude of it settle. The anger is expected, but it does not consume me. Not yet. Instead, I move methodically. The files are transferred, encrypted, stored away. I leave no trace, no disruption in the digital landscape of her world. By the time she steps out of the bathroom, I am seated at my desk, appearing engrossed in my work. She offers a soft smile. Coming to bed soon? I nod once, unwilling to trust my voice. As she drifts into sleep, I sit unmoving, the dim glow of my laptop illuminating the darkness. The plan taking shape in my mind is no longer about simple retribution. It is about reclaiming control, about safeguarding Cashin from the consequences of her recklessness. Outside, the night deepens. The city beyond the glass is quiet, unaware of the storm brewing within these walls. Elara believes she has mastered deception. What she does not yet understand is that the game has only just begun. Days pass, and my resolve solidifies. The weight of betrayal no longer paralyzes me, it fuels me. I move through the house like a ghost, carefully observing, cataloging every action, every deviation from normalcy. I am no longer a husband playing the role of the faithful partner. I am a strategist, laying the groundwork for what comes next. Cashin remains blissfully unaware. I shield him from the growing tension, ensuring that his life continues undisturbed. The last thing I want is for him to suffer from the fallout of Elara's deceit. He still looks at his mother with admiration, with trust. That trust is undeserved, but I will not be the one to shatter it, not yet. That will happen naturally when the time comes. Elara's behavior grows bolder, almost reckless. Perhaps she believes that her carefully orchestrated deception is infallible. She still whispers on late-night calls, her voice hushed but unmistakably intimate. She still disappears for last-minute meetings, claiming urgent client demands. She still leaves traces, ones she assumes I do not notice. But I see everything. I have always seen everything. One evening, as she settles into her usual spot on the couch, I sit across from her, watching. The television hums with background noise, but my focus is elsewhere. I've learned that silence unsettles her more than confrontation. She shifts under my gaze. What? She asks, feigning amusement. I shake my head. Nothing. Just thinking. She doesn't press further, likely assuming my thoughts revolve around work. In a way, they do, except the project I'm developing now has nothing to do with solar energy, and everything to do with her downfall. As the weeks unfold, I carefully manipulate the circumstances around her. A planted seed of doubt at her firm. A suggestion here, a subtle implication there. I have learned the art of dismantling someone's world brick by brick, without ever lifting a hand directly. Elara believes she is at the peak of her career, but I have already ensured that the foundations beneath her are crumbling. Meanwhile, I focus on strengthening my relationship with Cashin. We spend weekends exploring the nearby mountains, our hikes filled with discussions of science and philosophy, of ethics and integrity. I do not poison his mind against his mother, but I ensure that he understands the value of honesty, of keeping one's word. You know, Cassian, I tell him one afternoon as we sit atop a ridge, the valley stretching wide beneath us. Integrity is one of the most important things a person can have. It defines who we are, even when no one is watching. He nods, considering my words. Like when you promised we'd go hiking, even though you were really busy? Exactly. I ruffle his hair, the warmth in his eyes reassuring. He is still young, still untainted by the cruelty of deception. And I will ensure he remains that way. Elara, on the other hand, grows more entangled in her own web of lies. I begin encouraging her to take more time for herself. You've been working hard, I tell her one evening, the mask of the supportive husband firmly in place. You should take a weekend off. Go relax. She hesitates, perhaps sensing an underlying shift, but the lure of freedom is too tempting. That sounds nice, she says finally. Are you sure? I smile, the picture of unwavering support. Of course. You deserve it. She believes she is gaining something. What she does not realize is that I am simply giving her the rope with which she will hang herself. The weekend arrives, and she leaves, claiming she'll be meeting with clients. I do not ask questions. I already know where she's going, and more importantly, who she's going to see. While she is away, I devote my time entirely to Cassian. We build a solar-powered model together, discussing how energy can be harnessed and repurposed. I watch as his mind lights up with excitement, and I know that I am doing the right thing. I am securing his future, shielding him from the instability his mother has introduced into our lives. That night, as he sleeps, I retrieve my laptop and begin compiling everything. Every transaction. Every call. Every location ping from her phone's GPS. The evidence forms a complete, irrefutable narrative. This is no longer about suspicions or gut feelings. This is cold, hard proof. By the time Elara returns on Sunday evening, I have everything I need. She steps through the door, her expression radiant, as though she has just returned from a retreat rather than a betrayal. I do not react. I simply watch. Everything okay? She asks, feigning concern. I nod. Everything's fine. She smiles, oblivious. She will not be smiling for much longer. The moment Elara steps into the house, I study her closely. She carries herself with an air of confidence, as though she has nothing to hide. Perhaps, in her mind, she has already won, secure in the belief that she is in control. But she is mistaken. The ground beneath her is already shifting, and soon, she will feel it give way entirely. For the next few days, I say nothing. I watch as she falls back into routine, slipping into the familiar rhythm of our home, unaware that the world she believes she commands is on the verge of collapse. At work, I plant the final seeds necessary to dismantle her career. A well-placed email sent anonymously to Victoria Chambers, the firm's director, includes a series of messages implicating Elara in confidential leaks. They are, of course, carefully crafted, a mixture of truth and deception that will raise just enough suspicion to set the inevitable into motion. I do not need to push further. Suspicion is often more destructive than outright proof. At home, I continue reinforcing my bond with Cassian. Our time together is deliberate, hikes in the mountains, projects we build side by side. I instill in him the value of honesty, the importance of integrity. Though he does not yet understand, I know he will in time. Elara, meanwhile, remains oblivious. She continues weaving her web of deception, unaware that I have already begun pulling the threads loose. The unraveling is slow, calculated. Then it happens. She comes home earlier than usual one evening, her face pale, her hands trembling as she sets her bag down. I notice the way her shoulders slump, the silent tension in the way she moves. I keep my focus on preparing dinner, waiting for her to speak. Eventually, she does. There has been an accusation at work, breach of confidentiality, a violation she never saw coming. She explains in fragments, disoriented by the abrupt turn of events. The internal review has begun, and the consequences loom large. I feign concern, studying her as she grapples with the implications. She believes herself careful. But she has underestimated me. She seeks comfort, and I offer none. My reassurances are mechanical, my presence merely an illusion of support. She clings to routine, as if normalcy can salvage what is slipping through her fingers. The next step is set in motion. I suggest a weekend away at the cabin, an escape under the guise of clarity. She hesitates, then agrees. The weight pressing on her is too much to bear alone, and she does not yet realize that I am the one placing it there. The drive through Blackridge is quiet. Cashin stares out the window, unaware of the storm brewing beneath the surface. The cabin is a relic of quieter times, a sanctuary now turned into the setting of a reckoning. Inside, the fire crackles, but the warmth does not reach us. I guide the conversation toward trust, an unspoken trial unfolding in the space between us. Elara stiffens, avoiding my gaze. Cashin listens, the weight of unspoken truths pressing on his young mind. The silence between them is telling, a void where certainty once resided. Cashin looks at her, searching for something he cannot name. His expression shifts, the realization creeping in slowly, painfully. He has begun to understand. He does not shout. He does not cry. Instead, he simply stands, his small frame rigid with something unfamiliar. Then he turns and leaves the room, retreating to the solitude of his thoughts. Elara watches him go, her expression crumbling. She turns to me, searching for an answer she will not find. I offer none. It is over. She does not argue. She does not plead. The truth has settled around her like an unshakable weight. The silence stretches between us, final and absolute. I leave her there and go to my son. The foundation of our family has crumbled, but from the ruins, something stronger will rise. This is only the beginning. The days that follow are marked by silence. The house, once filled with the hum of routine, now holds only the weight of unspoken truths. Elara moves through the rooms cautiously, as if the walls themselves whisper the evidence of her betrayal. She does not ask questions, nor does she attempt to rebuild what she has broken. There is nothing left to salvage. Cashin speaks little, but his presence carries a newfound distance. He watches his mother with eyes no longer filled with unquestioning trust. It is not hatred, he is too young for such a thing to take root, but it is disillusionment, and that is perhaps more painful. I see the shift in him, the way he carries himself now, more guarded, more aware. Elara makes an effort to reach him, but her attempts fall short. Her words, once capable of soothing, now feel hollow, ineffective against the quiet wall Cashin has begun to build around himself. She lingers in doorways, watching him, searching for a way back to the son she has lost. But bridges burned do not rebuild themselves. At night I hear her crying. I feel nothing. The final steps of my plan unfold as seamlessly as the ones before. The firm's investigation into Elara progresses swiftly. Her carefully curated reputation begins to fracture as whispers turn to accusations, and accusations turn to consequences. Victoria Chambers has made it clear, her position is no longer secure. The doors she once walked through with confidence are closing, one by one. I do not gloat. There is no need. The world is merely adjusting itself to the reality she created. One evening, she finally breaks. She stands in the living room, the dim light casting long shadows against the walls. Her voice, when she speaks, is unsteady. Soren, we need to talk. I continue reading, letting the silence stretch. Only when I turn the page do I acknowledge her. There's nothing left to say. Her breath catches, but she presses forward. I made a mistake. I know that. But Cashin, he still needs both of us. I set the book aside and meet her gaze. Did you consider that before? Tears form in her eyes, but I have no sympathy left to offer. She has mistaken this moment for an opportunity at redemption, but there is no redemption here. Only consequences. The papers are already prepared, drafted by legal hands that know how to dismantle what once seemed indestructible. They wait in a folder on my desk, an unspoken ultimatum. She finds them later that night. I hear the intake of breath, the pause as she reads. The weight of finality sinking in. There is no confrontation. No desperate pleas. Only the sound of pages turning, one by one. Then, the slow, careful scratch of a pen against paper. When she is finished, she leaves them where she found them, the ink still drying. By morning, she is gone. Cashin does not ask where she went. He does not cry. He only watches as the world he knew shifts into something new, something unfamiliar. I take him hiking that weekend. The trail is quiet, the air crisp. He walks ahead of me, his movements steady, as though searching for something unseen. When we reach the summit, he stops and looks out over the valley below, the sky stretching wide beyond it. He does not speak, and I do not ask him to. Some truths do not need to be said aloud. The past is behind us. The future waits. We begin the descent, step by step, leaving the wreckage below.